Picture this. There's a graph in front of you in writing task 1. Lines going up, lines going down, and one line wandering all over the place.
And you describe the whole thing with just two, honestly kind of tired words: increased, decreased, increased again. Now, the examiner has seen those exact two words 1,000 times today. And quietly, that's a band 6 trap.
But here's the good news, and it's a pretty big one. A small set of really precise movement words is literally one of the fastest, easiest upgrades in the whole of task 1. You don't need a huge vocabulary, you just need the right 5 words. So, welcome back to Mina's IELTS notebook. In this explainer, we're going to walk through the graph together, and by the end of it, you'll see exactly which word fits which shape of change. All right, let's dive right in.
Let's start with the absolute simplest movement, which is going up. Instead of writing went up or using increased again, use rise. It works as a verb and as a noun, and it instantly sounds so much more academic. Take a look at this example. Sales rose steadily over the decade, or you could say there was a sharp rise in demand. Notice those little adverb words that ride along with it, like rose steadily, rose sharply, or rose gradually. Those specific pairings are exactly what examiners are looking for. So your upgrade is super simple. It's not the number went up a lot, it's the number rose sharply. Now, rise tells us a line went up, obviously, but task 1 is almost never all in one direction, right? Sooner or later, a line turns and heads down. And for that, please don't reach for decreased. Reach for decline. It's this beautifully calm, formal word for going down, and again, you can use it as a verb and a noun. Profits declined gradually after 2015, or the graph shows a steady decline. You see how decline just sounds so much more measured and academic than basic words like drop or fell? And the exact same pairings apply here too, like declined steadily or declined gradually.
Okay, so decline is a gentle, controlled fall. But as you know, some lines don't decline politely. Sometimes they just fall right off a cliff. When a figure drops suddenly and steeply, the exact word you need is slump. Let's look at the example here. The market slumped in 2015 after the crisis. Or, using it as a noun, there was a dramatic slump in tourist numbers. Slump carries this really unmistakable sense of a sharp, sudden collapse. So definitely save it for those steep drops, not the gentle ones.
Seeing them side by side really helps. That contrast alone is precisely what examiners are looking for, using decline for the gentle, predictable falls and slump for the steep, sudden ones. Honestly, showing that level of precision is exactly what lifts a task 1 answer straight to a band 7. So far, rise, decline, and slump all move in one clear direction. But what about when a line just can't make up its mind? It goes up, then down, then up again, all year long. Well, that irregular back and forth movement has its own special word, and I'll tell you a secret, it's a huge favorite among examiners. The word is fluctuate. Prices fluctuated throughout the year, or the chart shows wild fluctuations in rainfall. If a line is zigzagging across the graph, don't say it went up and down, say it fluctuated. Just one precise word, and you instantly sound a whole band more fluent. Now we have one more, and it does a slightly different job. When you're comparing several things that simply differ from each other. So we're not talking about one line moving over time, but different categories, countries, or groups. For this, you use vary. The figures varied considerably between the 5 countries, or there was considerable variation across age groups. Vary, along with its noun variation, is the academic way to say things were different. And remember, comparison is literally half of what task 1 asks you to do. Now, here is the part that is really going to make today's lesson click. Let's take all 5 terms and imagine mapping them onto a single graph so you can feel exactly how they differ. Picture a chart tracking a company's sales across a 10-year period. From 2010, sales rise steadily. That's a smooth climb upward. In 2015, they slump. That's a sharp, sudden drop after a scandal. For the next few years, they fluctuate, bouncing up and down with the seasons with no clear direction. By 2020, they settle into a slow decline, a nice, gentle downward drift. And across the company's 5 regions, results vary considerably. Some are strong, some are weak. That is 5 words for 5 completely different shapes of change, and not a single one of them swaps for another. So let's lock these in. Rise goes up, decline goes down gently and formally, slump drops suddenly and steeply, fluctuate goes up and down irregularly, and vary means differs between things. It's not movement over time, but difference between cases. But before we move on, we really need to talk about 2 massive traps to avoid. First off, whatever you do, don't use fluctuate for a single up or a single down. It absolutely needs that back and forth action to be correct. And second, don't use vary for a line moving over time. Saying something like sales varied over the year is just weak vocabulary. If it zigzagged, it fluctuated. Vary is strictly for differences between categories. So let's think back to that graph from the beginning and that examiner whose pen had gone completely still. Instead of writing increased, decreased, increased, you could now write this. Sales rose steadily before slumping in 2015, then fluctuated for several years, while results varied considerably between regions. It's the exact same graph, the exact same data, but you're using 5 precise words instead of 2 tired ones. And I guarantee you the examiner's pen is going to start moving again. Because that, right there, is exactly what a band 7 looks like on task 1. All right, let's do a final review. I'll take these nice and slow. First is rise, to go up. For example, sales rose steadily over the decade. Just remember, this is your clean, easy upgrade for increase. Next up is decline, to go down, gently and formally. Profits declined gradually after 2015. It is just so much more academic than drop or fell. Then we have slump, to drop suddenly and steeply. The market slumped in 2015. Remember to save this one for those steep, really sudden falls. After that is fluctuate, to go up and down irregularly. Prices fluctuated throughout the year. Just keep in mind it needs the back and forth, definitely not a single up or down. And finally, vary, to differ between things. Results varied considerably between regions. Remember, this is for the difference between cases, not movement over time. So in one quick line, rise equals up, decline equals gentle down, slump equals sharp sudden fall, fluctuate equals up and down, and vary equals differs between things. Before you go, I want to give you 2 quick things, because this is what actually makes these words stick in your brain. First is shadowing. Go back through that review list we just did and say each sentence out loud, right after me, copying the rhythm. Reading silently just builds mute English, right? Saying it out loud is what makes it yours. Second is the 3-day rule. Go through this explainer once today, once tomorrow, and once the day after. 3 short visits easily beats 1 long cram session. That is how you beat the forgetting curve, and how these words become the words you actually reach for in the exam room. And one last thing, tell me in the comments using today's exact words, has your IELTS practice score been rising, declining, or just fluctuating lately? Try to answer in a full, complete sentence. That's your first bit of real practice right there. You've totally got this. I'll see you in the next explainer. This has been Mina's IELTS Notebook.